Hey everyone, welcome back to the lab. In this video, we're going to be reading Why I Write Online as a Software Engineer, Unlocking Understanding, Memory, and Progress. So I've published writing online since 2011. That's over 10 years of sharing thoughts on the internet. In this post, I'll share the benefits of this habit and why I continue to heavily invest in writing online. Understanding. There's a great quote that goes something like, writing is understanding what you think. And I wanted to attribute this to the right person, but finding who actually wrote something on the internet is hard. So let me know if you know who actually said this to start with, because I didn't want to do a misattribution. Now you get several benefits from writing, even if you never share it with others. First thing you do is you put all your ideas on a topic in one place without distractions. You can more easily survey these ideas and understand their connections, allowing for new perspectives, arrangements, and connections. And then you can more objectively reflect on these ideas. They are no longer your ideas, just ideas on a page. So you're kind of removing the emotion or the baggage that might be involved if it's still stuck in your head. Writing makes it more clear what you're actually thinking, which allows you to better understand your thoughts and further refine them into knowledge. And it's my hypothesis that this is why it's so effective to actually write down your hypothesis, whether you're like debugging a bug or you're building a project or a product request is coming in. Because I think a lot of ideas are like not a single thing, but they're actually like compound ideas. And so in every idea, there's going to be like 2 or 3 different actual ideas that are combined in there. And so by separating them, you can now solve one thing at a time, understand where it came from, and then better understand the compound itself. And I do write down my hypotheses for basically like every project, every pull request, every product request that comes in, every like roadmap we make as a team. Because I found this to be so effective at just getting everyone on the same page and making sure we're not like spinning our wheels solving a problem that actually doesn't exist. And you can read more about that here in this video. Memory. What use is knowledge if you don't remember it? It's not that useful. Knowledge is only as powerful as our ability to apply it. I can know infinite facts, but if I can't actually use those facts to improve my lived reality, then that knowledge is effectively useless. Knowledge is power, aka the potential for impact, and power, that's like the scientific definition of power. And applied knowledge is impact, aka actually affecting your lived reality. But in order to have this impact, I must be able to recall the knowledge necessary to produce it. And the human mind and memory is a fickle thing, quite powerful but less reliable than we might like. By writing and sharing my ideas turned knowledge online, I effectively etch that knowledge into eternity with a fast, precise, and globally accessible way to recall it on demand via a URL. This gives me access to the full extent of my knowledge base whenever and wherever I want it, so long as I have internet access and have previously recorded this knowledge. And let's be real, in like 2024, there's very little places you won't have internet access, so basically available anytime, anywhere. By recording my knowledge in this way, I remove a whole class of issues that might cripple my idea to impact pipeline. And in the end, we always want impact. Otherwise, what's the point? And yeah, this idea that knowledge is power, but power is actually just the potential for impact, and we really want impact, I think is a good one. And this is kind of the core idea for like T-shaped expertise and knowledge-based or project-based learning. It's the idea that like we don't want to build up knowledge in a silo. We don't want to build up knowledge in our like ivory tower of theory, because oftentimes theory and reality don't mix. And so the best way to do this is to actually apply the knowledge to see if your knowledge is real, if it's actually transferable into impact. Because if it's not, it's just not that useful. Progress. I am one, we are legion. So far, my writing system is able to turn raw ideas into refined knowledge and make it accessible for application towards impact. This is good, but there's still a clear bottleneck in this pipeline. Each step in the system is bottlenecked by my own ability to progress through the creation cycle, observing the world, creating ideas to knowledge to impact, and reflecting on the cycle to do better next time. In software, we have 2 primary methods of scaling a static system, vertical and horizontal scaling. And what I mean by a static system is one that like we can't re-architect it, okay? So it's like you just got this software, I gotta run it. How can I scale this thing better? Vertical scaling involves scaling a single instance to have more horsepower, more compute, more memory, so it can do more of a thing faster. In human terms, this is like getting good sleep, up-leveling my skills and practicing regularly. It works, but it's clear that there's a ceiling on how much one instance can grow and get done in a given time frame. So this is like mostly what we'll do with like personal computers. Like you probably aren't going to upgrade your own computer unless like you're either strapped for cash or like you're a super optimizer. Mostly, after 2-3 years, you might just get a bigger computer. That's kind of like vertical scaling because you're only going to use one at a time. You're not going to have like 8 computers out there. You're vertical scaling that. And then for humans, the reason we go exercise, the reason we go learn things is to try to make our ability as a single instance do things better. But we kind of know that like if you just start doing things for 1 year, like you'll be better than you were the previous year, but you're not going to be like the best at it probably. And so within a given time frame with vertical scaling, like there's a ceiling to how good you can get within that time. And so it works, but how do we get beyond that? Now, horizontal scaling involves scaling by adding additional instances. So instead of a bigger engine, we'll use 10 of the same engines to theoretically get 10x more done. I say theoretically because there is like basically always overhead in orchestrating and organizing this kind of stuff. But, in theory, it works. Now, this is more similar to like hiring or delegating and, as we'll see, sharing. Now, I can't currently spin up more hams, though, we might be getting pretty close with these new AIs. But I can share my knowledge with more humans. Not everyone will take the time to ingest this knowledge, but for each one that does, I get one more brain to further process, refine, and progress it into a new form. Some will use this knowledge to inform their own idea to impact pipeline. Still others will share that new form back to me, allowing for another cycle to further process, refine, and progress the idea based on new input. In the end, there's only one of me, but literally billions of not me, and many more billions to come over time. If we think of humanity as one large organism, which is like the basis of a lot of, sci-fi, fantasy, and honestly hard science, scaling ideas to knowledge horizontally is the only way to reasonably progress knowledge across our collective conscious. Yeah, and I think of this like way of problem solving a lot. So it's kind of like, at the micro level, it's like, what can I do? What impact do I have in the world, right? And it's like, you can think of all these actions you can do and it's like, it's not really going to do much. And then, if you flip the problem on the head, it's like, where do we need to get to? What's the outcome we're trying to achieve? And you're like, okay, how do we make ideas better? How do we like get better ideas for humanity, the world, and stuff? And it's like, well, actually, the only way for this to happen is if that one person has an idea and shares it with others, and then they further refine and propagate it. And so it's kind of like, on a micro level, you doing this will have absolutely zero effect. But on a macro level, if nobody does that, it will be impossible to happen. And that's kind of what we're trying to achieve here. Next. The only way to know something for sure is to try it and see what happens. That's what I do to my ideas by writing online. That's how I progress and scale them beyond what I could do myself. Now, if you like this post, you might also like stop wasting your time on bad startup ideas, some heuristics and razors to make sure you're not like wasting your time. You might also like my journey from software engineer to entrepreneur and back again, kind of what I learned from there and my recommendations to people who are thinking about going either way. And then finally, open source software is unsustainable because I gotta scale this idea and we've got to get a better way to deal with open source. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.